Hello there, my sweet, kind friends. It's been a really long time since I've recorded a video. It's about a month and a half, and it's been on my mind that I've wanted... it's very easy to get out of the habit of things, but I've been kind of fighting fires a little bit all over the place, particularly in regards to what I really want to do with my life. And one of the things I've talked a lot about on this channel is about simplifying things. But the difficulty with using language like simple and direct and all these things, it all sounds really reductive. So I don't want to live a narrow life. I am incredibly curious and inquisitive. I have a real thirst for adventure. But the truth is, I've experienced a lot of different awakenings to various ways that I've behaved basically throughout my entire life. And it's all basically caught up with me all at once. And it's kind of put me into a bit of a stasis, and I've retreated. I've been kind of living like a hermit for a long time, and I fundamentally believe I've needed to have that time. And I'm not talking about coming back after years or decades of not recording anything. You know, it's a month and a half it's a while, but it's not that long a time, particularly as I'm going to be halfway to 50 in a matter of months. So a month and a half when you're in your 40s it's not that long a time. But it has been on my mind that I want to record videos. But I was actually recording videos every single day until this long gap. And I'm not likely to be doing that again. I basically do a daily video on my Instagram, Facebook and Twitter profiles. But I was also doing a daily separate video just here for YouTube. And I was clipping that and then putting that onto those social media channels. I may expand that further. There are people recommending LinkedIn. But I think that will be a bridge too far for me. But in the last 2 weeks, in fact, 2 weeks ago today, my parents moved back to the village. And obviously that has sort of taken over somewhat with sorting things out. And it's a really familiar but new feeling at the same time. And it is actually really wonderful to have them here. And I think the last few weeks, there's been a lot of emotional preparation, psychological readying myself for the fact that they're coming back, and that we're all going into a completely different stage of our lives. And I did mention at the beginning of this video that I am still figuring out exactly what it is that I want to do. But I can feel, I have an instinctive sense that is coming and it's coalescing. But before I hit the record button on my phone here, I did feel a sense of nervousness, not knowing exactly what I was going to speak about. But I just thought this is a general catch up, an opportunity to say hello and get back into, the rhythm of creating these videos again. And I have a feeling that I'm probably going to be doing them about once a week. And because I'm a neat freak, I can't lie. I'm so neat. I'm so ordered. It's the German part of me. Because on my mum's side of the family, there's a little bit of Deutsch in there. But I wanted to record on a Monday because it feels like a good day to record the videos, you know, but ultimately the stuff doesn't really matter. People talk about algorithms and, you know, when best to upload and the frequency and the regularity. So, well, yeah, just record the video and figure these things out as you go. But what I have experienced is, well, what I've discovered, I've had a couple of particularly powerful therapy sessions in the last few weeks, is in being curious and inquisitive, there's the danger that you can become a hammer for which everything is a nail. And there are some things that you don't need to know. And I realised that this is one really destructive pattern of behaviour that, you know, I have actually fallen into, that, oh, I need to know why that person did that, and I need to know what that's all about. And suddenly realising that it's not necessary is actually an enormous relief. But what you always have to be prepared for, because it can hit you like a ton of bricks, I can't lie. And it has done me so in the last few weeks, certainly, is that once you realise and become aware of how you have been behaving for however long, you know, you've been in your psychological and emotional slumber, that you haven't been genuinely conscious of these things, that you've been running your life on autopilot, on your conditioning, your programming. When you actually discover, oh, fuck, you know, what have I been doing? And suddenly feel like you've wasted a lot of time. And it can feel, I'm sort of getting me a bit now. It can feel really disappointing. And you can feel real rage at the machine. You can feel really angry that, you know, you've made these decisions, because a huge part of waking up, of becoming an adult, which very, very few people actually do, waking up to being an adult is realizing that you have made these choices, albeit for good reasons, but it can feel really intense, really heavy, that with all of that time, and I repeat, I am in my 40s, you know, no spring chicken, not old, but I'm not exactly young either, that you could have been doing so much better stuff with your time, but, you know, in the rearview mirror, things can appear a lot closer than they actually are. And this is part of accepting the fact that your life has gone the way it has, and wherever you are, whatever stage you're at, that you make decisions from here on in that are more advantageous to you, are healthier decisions, are more uplifting and positive decisions. But you have to accept, and we have acceptance. This is something I've been thinking about a lot recently. Acceptance is a very, very difficult word, because with a lot of these terms, they've been co-opted politically and culturally. But when we say acceptance, often we can hear that we endorse a particular behaviour, a particular stance, that we condone it, that we're making excuses for it. But really what acceptance is just acknowledging the fact that whatever has happened has happened. It doesn't mean necessarily agreeing that it was the best thing for you. It doesn't mean that you want to continue behaving in that way, but it's just living in reality. Acceptance is just living in reality and understanding that what has passed is water under the bridge, and you cannot change the actions and the facts and the circumstances. What you can do is start to become a good friend to yourself, which is a very, very difficult thing to do, which is why when you say phrases like that out loud and you say, oh, you just need to love yourself and you need to be a good friend to yourself, the reason that is met with derision and mockery in the extreme is because people haven't done it themselves. They can't accept the fact that their lives have gone a certain way and maybe they're not exactly where they want to be. And they would much sooner be sarcastic or mocking of something that can actually be very, very powerful. But it does require, however long the period will be for you, of a feeling robbed, pissed off, frustrated, angry at the way that things have gone. But it is what it is. And we're always in a position, to adopt the humility that's required to build a solid character. And it's not an easy thing to do. But when I talk about simplicity, what I'm actually talking about is returning to the fundamentals and the intrinsic parts of your character and your personality that are actually unique identifiers of who you actually are as a man. That's what I'm actually talking about. And I've been going to the gym regularly, the actual place, and I've been spending quite a lot of time traveling, to the nearest city where the gyms are, and having the gym membership. But cities now are quite grim places, I can't lie. So I made the decision to cancel my gym membership, particularly because I've already got very good gym equipment in my garage, which was when I first knew that I was moving here, and I have a garage that accompanies this flat, that, all right, I'm going to get gym equipment and going to put it in there. So I'm now doing that 4 times a week. It's brilliant. And obviously it's right on the doorstep. And I made that decision partly because of the amount of time and money that it was sucking up, but also freeing myself of taking all of that time out of my schedule and leaving room for doing the things that really bring me joy, including going on sightseeing trips, and going to different places, and filling my life with the things that I have always and do and will continue to love. And that feels like an adventure. So for me, simplicity is actually filling your life with the stuff that you really love. And if you can pay conscious attention to what you know that you like, and learning to like what you like, well, what that does is opens you up to new opportunities, things that you haven't thought about before, or just opening yourself up to letting that stuff come to you, that your life can become so much more improved by walking your own path and seeing what organically comes up. And I think if we all allowed ourselves to do that a bit more, rather than doing certain optional things that are an effort and are not necessary, are not things that really make your heart sing, that if we remove those optional things that are dragging us down, well, we have more time, we have more openness and enthusiasm for the things that we do love. Because you've only got one life in this fantastic form that we have. It's really important that when you do become awake, that you're actually using your mind, spirit, and body for the things that you are naturally inclined towards. I say it once, I say it again, I say it over and over. It is your life. You deserve to live it in the way that you want to live it, and you deserve to live it in a way that brings you joy, prosperity, opportunity, which puts you in a position to be a shining example to all those around you, and who knows, to whomever in your future. Start being kind to yourself. It's not easy, but it is possible. And by God, it is worth it.